Hey guys, the reviewer here, doing a review of the game Phantasmagoria: A Puzzle of Flesh. Now, this is a game that I've been wanting to revisit for 5 years. Actually, more so the review I did, because the review I did during my Halloween theme month way back when is a video I do not look back at fondly. And the reason I don't look back fondly on it is because in my review, I must have been either off my game or like something was off with me. Because in the review for it, I basically gave it like a very mediocre review, and I don't know why. I like kind of had this like mediocre feeling towards it. Not the game, the video, because for some weird reason I just said I didn't really like the game that much. And I don't know why I said that. I really don't know why I said that because I replayed it last week in preparation to do a review of it again, and I found out I really like this game. Like, legitimately like this game a lot. Like, I mean, I do like the first Phantasmagoria. In fact, I'll always have a soft spot for it because it's one of Roberta Williams' passion projects, and the reason that like a lot of people remember it was like at the time when it came out in 1995, it was very controversial for what like you'd seen in games at that point. And namely, I think the funniest thing about that whole game is the fact that Roberta Williams is mainly known for like the King's Quest series, so a lot of people were probably like surprised by like that it was one possible for her to do something for a mature audience, and two, well, I feel just having Roberta Williams' Phantasmagoria on a box is gonna sell based on her name alone. And the thing I love about the first one is that the first Phantasmagoria is basically, I've always equated it to like it's a B horror movie because like it's not really that scary. Like it's basically a haunted house story about like a woman who moves into a house that was owned by like a like magician that was rumored to have been a murderer. And basically, what happens is you basically release a ghost, and like a lot of crazy things happen throughout the game. And it's one of those games that like it's not particularly scary. It's got good atmosphere. I'll give it that. Like I actually finished replaying it today, like as I when I before I even did this video. And it's one of those games I love because of the atmosphere. And anyway, let's get to the second game, Phantasmagoria: A Puzzle of Flesh. Now, the thing about the second game is that it really has no connection to the first one, except for like a throwaway line in one chapter where the main character you play as Curtis Craig, he picks up a piece of his mail and flips it over. And it's like, oh, book about coping with loss by Adrian Delaney. She looks cute. That's literally the only like connection the first one had. The game has to the first one. And anyway, Curtis Craig is a person working for a company called Wintech, and basically a lot of strange things start to happen around. A lot of strange things tend to start happening there, and it's one of those games I don't want to get into the plot because it actually is actually like from I completely forgot how good the story in this game is. But basically, like to make it like the simplest terms without spoiling anything, it's basically like like you're kind of trying to find out what's happening at this company because you know there's something mysterious about this company because your father like went supposedly missing, and like throughout the game you start to learn what exactly happened to your father and exactly what happened to you. And it's a game that like I can understand why some don't like it. I really can, because it's a slow burn horror game because it's not exactly a gore fest. Although I will admit the gore, when it does have the violence in it, is like I'd actually go even more brutal than the first one. I mean, the first Phantasmagoria was mainly known for its graphic content of like the violence, sort of. Yeah, there is a rape scene, but like the second one, it's a completely different beast in the fact that like the first one I always equate with B horror movie, and it's not that scary, and it really only gets intense like in the last chapter. But there's something about the second one that like just kind of resonated with me more. There was just something about it. It may have to do with the fact that I basically played through the whole game in like a day. Like I didn't intend to do that. Like I was just because I was bored. I was spending the weekend at my nan's, and I was just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna replay Phantasmagoria too. Replay Phantasmagoria Puzzle of Flesh." And I only intended to do like chapter 1 to 2, like probably like chapter 3. I did almost the whole game that like one evening, and I have no regrets. I loved it. And I love Phantasmagoria Puzzle of Flesh, even though there's no connection to the first game. And oddly enough, the only real gripe I have mainly is like the last puzzle. And it's not because it's like a bad puzzle. It's not, but like all of the other puzzles in the game for the most part are pretty straightforward. And you have just this last puzzle when you go to the alien world. Because yeah, there's a whole thing with this game that like the last. I don't even want to spoil the last half of it because it gets insane and kind of what the in the last part in the final puzzle of the game is basically you powering up this machine, and it's a bizarre puzzle because all the other puzzles have been straightforward, but then you get this last puzzle which I'm always kind of like I don't think it is the case, but it would make me laugh if it was because every puzzle is like easy to do, pretty not that like hard to understand. And you get this last one, it's just like how would someone look at this and see like oh yeah anyone's gonna get to be able to understand how to do this. Like I secretly think like Roberta Williams might have gotten to make the last puzzle. It's a moon logic puzzle in every sense of the word, in every sense of the word, and oh it's a good puzzle, but it's one of those just like what how would you why do you have such a confusing puzzle towards the very end of the game? But anyway, like it's one of those games that I'm glad I'm finally re-reviewing it because I genuinely love this game. I love it even more than the first one because I love the first one too, but I love again like I've said before, I love it in that sense of a B horror movie. Of like it's cheesy, it's at the time it would have been very controversial in 1995. I can see why the first one was banned in many countries. But anyway, the reviewer signing out.